I think we've been incredibly misrepresented here. The forgotten borough was the borough who pulled one another up from Sandy, the borough where mom and pop shops continue to flourish and opportunities continue to grow. It seems that my beginning derived from the end in this case. People were asking me, why are you doing this? Is it a school project? No, but this is my home. I wanted to better understand what was happening. I wanted to not continue to allow a disengage between myself and this issue just because I was not personally affected. So I set out on a series of interviews to gain a variety of perspectives on the matter. We aren't just a stereotypical range of labels. We're not statistics or sacrifice to disease. We are so much more than that. We all have a story and they are intertwined. It is time to listen.
Addiction does not discriminate. My name is Kevin. I'm a typical Staten Island kid. I was born and raised in Staten Island. I went to school here. I played baseball and football. I was one of the star players. Immediately after high school, I went into a head-on collision with a bus, injuring my neck and my back. I was in a lot of pain. I went to the doctors for help. I went through all kinds of rehabilitation and everything. And eventually they prescribed me painkillers. Worst thing that ever happened to me. They first started at 5 milligrams, then they upped it to 10 and 15. Before I knew it, I was taking 30 milligrams about 10 times a day. At this point, I was hooked. I was working in a union. I was spending about $600, $700, sometimes $1,000 a week just to supply my habit, just to get up, just to go to work, just to do the same exact thing over and over again. I ended up losing my job. I had to move back with my father. My father realized I had a really bad problem. He looked at me one day. He was like, Kev, you either got to get help or you got to move out of my house. Me being all prideful, being in denial, I didn't think anything was wrong. I was like, I'm leaving. I don't need no help.
Are you an enabler?
Yes.
So who was an enabler and is not anymore? Who's done? Done. I'm done, but I haven't told anyone yet.
So I picked up all my stuff. I went to my friend's house. He told me I could stay there. I left with a safe and a few things of clothing. I was all high. I didn't know what I was doing. I went there. They told me I could stay. I ate a big bowl of macaroni and cheese that morning, and I fell asleep. It should have been my last meal of my life. They found me face first in my throw up, blue. They called the ambulance. They rushed me to the hospital. My heart stopped in the ambulance. They had to quickly revive me, and then I spent the next 3 weeks in ICU fighting for my life. I had multi-organ failure. My liver, my kidneys weren't working. My brain had 50% oxygen. My blood pressure plummeted. I was losing blood pressure in my entire body. I was on dialysis. They read me my last rites. They told my parents, there's no way this kid's gonna make it. You might as well make arrangements.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Chapman. I'm an interventional pain management physician. I practice here in Staten Island, New York, as well as Manhattan. I'm the director of pain management at Staten Island University Hospital, which is now part of the Northwell system, and an assistant clinical professor at NYU Langone Medical Center. I've been practicing pain management for since 2006. I'm born and raised in Staten Island, New York. There was, I don't want to say excessive, but pain management really was just as much opioids, if not more, than procedures and other modalities.
And you are the ideal, typical South Shore, middle-class kid, coddled, given everything, spoiled, whatever the case may be. You tell us, what could have been different to help you? Maybe nothing.
Right now?
Yeah. Honestly, I want you to be honest and open right now.
I really don't know right now. I'm not
Go ahead.
being clear.
What keeps me sober and what got me sober is my willingness to stay sober. Like, I'm here to spread the message. Am I willing to help someone else? Am I willing to go to me? That's the only thing that keeps my willpower will never keep me sober.
So they had every single one of my family members line up and say their final goodbyes. After everybody said their goodbyes, that night actually, out of the blue, out of a miracle, I just woke up. I can't describe to you the feeling that I felt when I looked around the room and I seen every single one of my loved ones and what I put them through. It was the worst feeling of my life. I remember hearing things like the doctor saying he's going to be completely brain dead, you're going to lose all 4 of your limbs. And I couldn't speak. I had tubes in my throat, my lungs, and my stomach. I couldn't move. I was half my weight. I was 100 pounds. I'm 200 pounds now. Imagine that. I was fighting for my life every single day, and I didn't think I was going to make it. The doctors didn't think I was going to make it. My family didn't think I was going to make it. I used to pray every single day, please let me get out of this. If I come through this alive and okay, I'll make a change in this world. After a while of fighting, they said, you know, you're kind of out of the woods right now, but unfortunately, we're going to have to take your left leg. I now have a prosthetic leg that I have to deal with every single day. I have to put my leg on in the morning. It's a constant reminder of what I went through and the struggle that I went through and the problems that there are on this island.
And it works almost too well. It's equivalent to 6 Percocet pills at the same time. So it relieves pain, pretty much most types of pain, but it's short-acting medication. So you're getting this, you know, quick escalation of your blood levels of this medicine, and you also get a quick escalation of the other side effects of the medications, one of which is euphoria. And you also get, because of that rapid onset, you also can develop tolerance to it very quickly, and then you need more and more. So
How in particular were you handling patients that were coming from elsewhere that had built a dependency on such types of medication?
So, you know, it's tough, and it's tough for patients that come in and that have pain issues and are now taking high-dose opioids. You know, I think two of the main problems are tolerance to the medications, and because of that, a dependence on them. So it's very difficult to formulate a plan that's successful for someone that is really dependent on a medication. When we get referred patients, or we see patients that are on those high-dose opioids, there's not a ton of options for them, and very often we'll try to change them to a different medication. As those it's very difficult to even titrate off those medications or go down slowly because of the body's need for the medication. So we'll very often, sometimes we don't even accept them as patients, or we'll offer them different lower dose medications where they may not develop as much tolerance to.
I've used the police 3 or 4 times, so now it's crying wolf with the police, okay? They told me I can't utilize their resources. My daughter went to a psych hospital. She was released after I said she was missing. I didn't know where she was. So I basically, I said something that wasn't true. They released my daughter, so I've changed the locks, went on vacation, didn't feel good about going on vacation because I knew something was going to break. And what happened is my daughter broke into my house. She stole, she trashed the house. This just happened. I just came back this morning, so this is very recent. I called up the Staten Island Detective Bureau. I don't know which precinct it was, and I asked. I said, "This is where I am. I'd like some advice." Really, my goal is to get my daughter into treatment, not to get her into jail. They said, if you file a report, she's going to go into jail. That's it, and it's up to the judge what happens. So I'm thinking 2 things. She could be dead on the street from a drug overdose. She could go into jail, she'll have a criminal record, and she won't be able to get a job afterwards. What do I do? Now, in the interim, I'm getting texts from people my daughter's dealing with all day, telling me how bad she's doing. She's living in a hula house, she's down in the projects, she's a prostitute. This is all day. This is as painful as it gets when you hear that about your child. So where I am right now, the house was trashed. We spent the day cleaning it up. But she doesn't have access, but she climbs up on the 2nd floor and goes in through the deck. Somehow she gets that door open. There's a metal bar there. She figured out a way to get that up. And she gets in the house.
Hi, my name is Ron Castorina. I'm the Assemblyman for the South Shore of Staten Island. I proudly represent nearly 150,000 people in my district, and I'm happy to be here today. Well, I think it would be unconscionable for any elected official not to be focusing on this issue at this point, as it's really reached critical mass. We've seen overdoses of 3 to 6 per week, and it's something that's so alarming that it's actually a greater rate of death than even gun violence in the United States. So it's something that I think we have an obligation to address as elected officials on Staten Island.
And can you tell me about some of the more recent laws that were passed and where the funding has been going in regards to this issue?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think that many of the laws go far enough. There have been several laws that look to increase penalties for those that have certain quantities of heroin on them, those quantities that I believe are attributable to a dealer status. Unfortunately, those laws did not pass last session, but we were able to pass some laws that allow for a greater time period for somebody who is addicted to be in the care of a facility like a hospital up to 72 hours, so that they could hopefully voluntarily get clean and then go on to placement for other facilities. But I would really like to see there be an increase in that timetable because from what I gather from my research, there are certain drugs out there that'll actually help keep somebody clean if they are clean for about 10 to 12 days. There's a drug called Vivitrol particularly that will actually negate the high that somebody would get from consuming an opiate, but they have to be clean 10 to 12 days before they get this shot called Vivitrol. And then that in conjunction with other wraparound services, mental health services, really there are great results. So that's something that I'm very keen on. I've been talking about that to some of the local community leaders and also the rehab facilities, and I'm hopeful that that'll catch on because I think it's a great way to help people get the type of services that they need to get clean and to stay clean.
And as far as recent funding, where has that been directed?
Well, unfortunately, the only funding through the state of New York right now is earmarked at about $25 million. It's really a very, very small and minuscule amount of money to confront what I think is $1 billion problem. We really need more money for services. We need more money so that we can keep people in facilities for a longer period of time to get clean. And unfortunately, the monies that are earmarked right now really are spread so thin that I don't really think that it's extremely effective. Although I know that our elected officials and my colleagues are doing everything that we can do, we really need to call upon the state to really fund our way out of this problem, because it's the only way that we're going to see some results is if we have the programs necessary to do two major things. The first thing is to educate our youth so that they never participate in drug activity and they never get addicted. And then, of course, to get the people that are currently users, to get them clean, get them sober, and get them in the type of treatment programs that are long-lasting, lifelong programs that'll keep them from going back to this drug problem, to this poison that we're really trying to eradicate off the streets. And then, of course, as a very, very close third, I would target enforcement and law enforcement as a great partner with government right now in keeping this poison off our streets, but they can't do it alone.
So Carl's House is a peer-to-peer recovery center. We offer free services to families and loved ones who are seeking help with addiction. I am a person in long-term recovery from heroin addiction. There are family services here on Staten Island, and the biggest thing that the people in recovery decided to do, we started an open Heroin Anonymous meeting on Wednesday nights. We have about 50 people here every Wednesday night. You know, we are taking back our island. I suffered from active alcohol, drugs, drug addiction for 10 years. I lost my 20s to drug addiction. When I came home from rehab in 2014, I approached my brother Massimo Donna, who is the chairman of the Carl Vincent Beanie Memorial Fund, and their memorial fund helps the community in time of need. During Hurricane Sandy, they opened up Carl's House #1, and they helped the community then big time. Last year in 2015, they redid a lunchroom for special needs students. They give scholarships and grants to different families throughout the year when something pops up. So when I came home from rehab in 2014, I approached my brother and the members of the board, and I told them that I'm sick and tired of what's going on Staten Island. And we all know what's going on in Staten Island. The drug, alcohol, and heroin epidemic is exploding. We're losing too many people from this disease. So I approached them and said, we need a place where parents can go and know where to go to receive help for their loved ones. What we offer here at Carl's House is we assist them in getting a detox. We assist them in getting into rehabs. We assist them getting in outpatients. We let them know what services are available locally here on Staten Island. There are many services here on Staten Island in all three of those categories. We let them know what services are available basically regionally, all over the country. We assist them every step of the way. Not everyone that comes here that's suffering from disease wants to go to rehab. But what we do is we offer peer-to-peer services. That's one alcoholic addict talking to another. We can honestly tell that person when they come down here, we talk to them one-on-one in a private room saying, we know where you've been, there is a way out because we've been where you are. We're all the same. We're not bad people who's made bad choices. We get down on their level. I do not want to talk to a doctor in a lab coat, a cop, or anything in my active addiction. They could not relate to me. Someone that's been through what I've been through can actually relate to me. We offer free interventions. We have family groups here every single night. We are aligned with the YMCA. They come in on Tuesday nights. Monday night, Community Health Action comes in, does free Narcan training. Wednesday night, Staten Island Hospital comes in. Thursday night, we have Naranon that comes in. Friday night, we have Camelot coming in. That's all family services. So obviously when I got kicked out of rehab and I wanted another chance at this, because I really did want it, I was staying clean. No one would hire me. No one would accept me in their circle. All I would get called was a junkie, and people in recovery hate that word, junkie. We've been getting vilified for that word since before the 80s and 70s. And we're not the scourge of society. And everyone looked at me like I'm an outcast. And I don't know, how would you feel if someone said that to you and you were an outcast? All I want to do was be part of, and I tried to get this. I was going to different meetings and hang out with the right people, and they took me in and did the right thing. They were paying for me to go eat every night, but it only lasted so long. I seen my friends in recovery when I was trying to do this. They were going to the gym, they were playing softball, football, movies. All these things cost money. Marco has no money because he's, when in my active addiction, I did a lot of hurtful things to my friends and family. And eventually, my self-esteem went down the drain because I couldn't do nothing. And I reverted back into my room, which I call my dungeon, alone. And when I'm alone, I was afraid and living in fear. And I did the only thing I know how to do, which is get high. And people in the community wonder why the people keep relapsing, why do people keep dying. No one in the community wants to step up and say, I'm willing to take a chance on you. I'm willing to offer you something. The only way we're going to stop this problem is in the community. It's a community problem. Staten Island knows what's going on. People are dying. We all know that. We know it's a heroin problem right now. Instead of keep complaining of what's going on, what are we doing for a solution? For my solution, I came back in 2014 after going 3 months away to rehab upstate to a New York State Medicaid facility because that's where my family could send me because that's the only thing they could have let me go. And I came back headstrong. My mind cleared when I was away, and I want to take a stand in this community. The only way to take back Island is offering these different services. Me and all the volunteers at Carl's House are sick and tired of losing our friends, and we want that person when they come home from rehab to notice services available. We have free softball league, free flag football league, once a month bowling nights, yoga. We have free class at CKO kickboxing. We have a lot more in the works. These doors have been open for 4 months and a lot of things are happening. The most important thing, we are approaching business owners and see if they're willing to hire people in recovery. And not just sending someone saying, hey, you want to hire my friend, and hopefully it works out. Actually have some oversight. If someone wants to get a job and Carl's House makes a connection with different businesses, we want to align ourselves with the business and that individual. If they want to get a job and we know places that are willing to hire them, we're willing to link them up with that job if they're willing to get drug tested once a week and go to counseling one-on-one to help themselves once a week. You know, we aligned ourselves right now with the YMCA that's willing to help us out with that. That's an outpatient program on Staten Island. We're reaching out to a couple other outpatient programs. We need people to come home and change people, places, and things.
My name is Carl Ferrin. I'm the Senior Director of Residential Treatment Services at Camelot Counseling on Staten Island.
So Carl, can you explain a little bit about what it is that you do in this center? And just a little bit about the center itself, like how it's funded, what it has to offer.
Well, we're funded through the New York State Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse. We are a long-term residential treatment program where the average length of stay can be anywhere between 6 and 9 to 12 months. This wing here, we have 2 wings of rooms. We have this level and we have the upper level. If you notice, we try to make it as homely as possible, so they kind of get that feeling like, it's not an institution. This is a place for people to come to recover and become a part of a family.
Get comfortable.
Yeah.
How many people are you housing on average?
Right now, we have 45 clients in this building. This is the standardized bedroom. Most of the rooms in the facility are 4 main rooms. They each have their own dresser, they have their own closets, and they're responsible for taking care of their personal space, their personal things, making their beds, cleaning their windows. And not only that, they're also responsible for their peers.
Okay.
So they work together. If one is going to be out, the other one will help him out, make his bed for him, and vice versa.
Is there any specific way in which you're grouping the individuals, or?
We try to keep we have different levels of treatment. So some of the upper levels who have been here, a little longer, 6 months, 7 months, we'll put 1 person in each room. For the sole purpose of them showing the newer guys how to keep their area clean, what to do, what are the rules, what are they, what's the expectation of them in the room, what time is bed, what time is lights out, what they can, just your basic general rules. And they work together and help one another.
So what's an average day look like for a client in here?
They have, it varies from day to day, but we have a multitude of different groups that run throughout the day. Depending on what is scheduled for that day, we have AA, we have NA that come in on certain evenings. They have their own individual groups. They have their individual caseload groups. We have daily seminars that are more educational and evidence-based seminars that are, getting them on the right track.
Is family allowed to visit them in here?
Yes.
Okay.
In the first 30 days, we don't have visitors. After the first 30 days, they're allowed to have a family member come up inside the facility for 4 hours. They'll visit 4 or 5 hours and be with a counselor, be supervised. So there's some monitoring going on in the family relationship. How is it going? How are they interacting? What is the conversation like?
What are some of the dynamics you've noticed in the family relationship? Is there a lot of maybe hostility at first, or anger, or is it immediate?
I think it's more lack of understanding and denial that my loved one actually belongs in a treatment program, even though that they push them here, or like you would say, they would encourage treatment as an alternative. They still, it's not easy for them to understand where they are, and that's why it's important that they participate in the groups.
I'm here today with Alicia Reddy, who is a registered nurse on Staten Island, and she founded Addiction Angels, an organization which came in existence about 7 years ago. The motive of this organization is to basically help those who are battling their addiction and their loved ones find the necessary resources to seek help. Joining her is also Robert Papa, who is actively working towards raising as much awareness towards the cause as he can.
The biggest part of the problem that I realized were the parents. The resources were not available, education was not available, and parents were at a loss. They did not know what to do at all. I started holding small gatherings in my yard so parents could meet one another, and it escalated from there. And then I took it to the local church, my parish, Our Lady Star of the Sea, and I would focus on specific topics that could help parents find the resources and availability that they needed to help their loved one that was struggling with abuse. And from there, it just escalated into a big foundation now, a big organization, and I do Scared Straight forums that I educate children and families in the community. I do support groups, sibling groups, and I worked with communities, kids like Rob, that try to raise money and bring awareness to the epidemic on Staten Island.
Right, so I'm a hip-hop artist, and we focus on basically giving hip-hop a positive image, and we work with a couple of local bands to try and bring out all types of demographics out. We had met Alicia and became aware of her program, and we wanted to help any way we could. We've thrown 3 benefit shows already. We plan to do more in the future. Basically, me and my team, we look for any ways we can help within the community, whether it be through this program or other types of ways, because the community is so important to uphold and build a strong network of. So, like I always say, you can't have community without unity, and that's one of the biggest drives for it. So we've donated all the proceeds we made at these shows to Alicia and her program, and we basically, not that we were raising awareness per se, because people are already aware of the issue that's at hand, but we basically want to bring people together and look for a common ground to fight this stuff with.
We are the only state that has over 20-something facilities that are free. You don't realize how lucky we are. I get phone call. I got a phone call from a little girl today, 24 years old, from Ohio. Can I have an appointment with you? I said, where do you live, sweetie? Ohio. There's nowhere for me to go. Florida people call me. There's not one place in the whole state of Florida for an addict to go except DAF, and the conditions are horrendous.
Well, what is available here?
There's Daytop, Samaritan Village, ATC, Conifer House, On Daycare, Seafield, Camelot, Staten Island University. Who else? What else? St. Christopher, St. Joseph, St. Luke's. There's tons of them.
I think that what is going on now is positive and strong, and the changes that and the effort that are being put forward by the community are great.
I just want anybody to know who's struggling with addiction that, 3 years ago I was a shell of a person. I was existing, I was not living, and I never ever thought that there was a way out. And I want you to know that there is a way out and there is hope. You just need to reach out for help.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Do you feel as if there has been an increase in education and awareness about this issue?
There has recently, and that's in conjunction with the Borough President's program called Too Good for Drugs, which is in alliance with the New York City Police Department as well. And it brings education to those young people that really need to hear how bad and how addictive that even trying heroin particularly is just one time, and what it can do to your life and how it can destroy you and it can destroy your family. So that type of education, I think, is going to be something that pays off in an enormous way in the future as these young people grow up and they learn that this is not the path for them, and certainly that there are better ways to spend their time and to be productive and to stay away from these drug activities which really just destroy lives. Well, we have a great program in the Carl Beanie House, the Beanie Fund, which is a non-for-profit that gets involved in real-life counseling and real-life people that have gone through the same situation and have been productive members of society. And certainly there's a whole network of folks that want to help get people employed. Luke Nasta is a great resource at Camelot. He's done so much to help get people productive and working and to assimilate back into society without the haunting drug issue. So there are just a variety of local folks that really do care. We do need more in terms of job training, and certainly when you have people that have been incarcerated, it's sometimes difficult with the stigma of incarceration and the stigma of heroin use, particularly, and opiates, to find work. So we need to make inroads to get people who have cleaned up their act and are sober, to get them working so that they can be productive and they can make the type of money that's a living wage to support themselves and their families. And so I look forward to assisting in bringing programs like that to Staten Island and being a partner in government to those folks as well.
I've had numerous friends pass away. Every single week I hear another story, and I was so sick and tired of hearing terrible, horrible stories with bad endings. And I know my life is going to be a happy ending in the front, so I shared my story with people, hoping that can inspire somebody and help somebody in their time of struggle. Because no matter how dark and dreary their road may seem at the time, there's always a way to turn things around and start over. And I try to let people know that, and the first thing to that is awareness. You don't know freedom until you're a slave to addiction. And I wake up every single day thanking God that I'm alive and I have the freedom of choice that I have now.
My name is Joe Fiorito, and I lost my brother Mike to a heroin overdose about 4 months ago. We were always like close, you know, like me and him we were best friends. It's really, really tough on my family right now. We actually just buried his ashes yesterday, well 2 days ago. We buried his ashes from like an outside circumstance. We just had to do it, something we had to do. It sucks, man. It really does. You know, like you grow up with somebody, like you love them. You see the change. It's probably the hardest part about it, you know. I mean, of course I looked up to him. Like he was my older brother. I learned everything I knew from him, you know. And like there's not a day that goes by that like I don't like miss him. I don't know. He really was a good-hearted person. Like honestly, like he really was. He was like one of the best people I've ever met, that I've had the pleasure of knowing. And I mean, he was a really, really good artist. He was gonna start apprenticing at a tattoo shop. Yeah, he was covered in tattoos. Loved tattoos. And I mean, that's really what he wanted to do. He wanted, like one day I just like noticed, like we were actually driving to work one day, and he was driving and I was in the passenger seat, and I saw him and he looked tired. I thought he was just like tired or something like that, and he like actually almost like fell asleep behind the wheel. It's because he was that was when he was doing Percocets. That's what started him off. He got hurt, and he got prescribed Percocet, and he just got addicted to it. And on our way to work that day, he actually nodded off. And we almost hit a pole. I had to jerk the wheel out of the way, and that's why I was like, all right, something right now, you know. That's when I first started noticing it. Yeah, he was like 22, 23. Money started to go missing a little bit, like even from my wallet. Like I wasn't really where I was delivering pizza, so like I didn't have that much money. Like I was going to school, and I would notice like if there was like some money missing from my wallet, like I would wake up and like the money missing. I'd kind of freak out, but I would let it go for a little while. But then after a while, you know, you get tired of these things. So I started confronting him about it, and he denied it, like most people would, you know. But like then other people in my family started noticing money missing too. And that's when like we tried to like confront him, and at that point I feel like it was almost like a point of no return. We didn't really know what to do. People don't know how to handle these things. Like it's such a foreign thing, you know. Like it's something that we're really not used to dealing with, even though we do live around here, which is it's a pretty bad neighborhood for drugs. Nip it while you can right now before it's too late. Because that night I walked downstairs and I found my brother. Like it's not okay, man, and you're gonna feel guilty. If your son's still alive, there's still hope. There's nothing I could do now, but if you could help him, you gotta help him however you can. And I've seen my brother go through the struggle for years, and honestly, like the only thing that I'm happy about is that he's finally at peace. Honestly, just get that person help. So it's literally do or die. I have like 2 drug dealers that live on my block, and it takes a lot out of me not to just go and beat the shit, honestly. But I know that they're so replaceable. You know what I mean? People want easy money. They don't give about anybody. You just care about money. It's all materialistic to them. People that you grow up with. Like you used to go to block parties with them, pool parties with them, and they're selling drugs to your brother. Honestly, and it's a up thing, and it really does take a lot out of me to not confront somebody. But I mean, I know that they're gonna get what's coming to them. It's just how it is. Just stop, man. You have to think. Not only does it affect you, it affects everybody around you. If you're struggling with drugs, it's going to affect every single person in your life, one way or another. Whether it be a small thing or whether it be a major thing, it really doesn't matter. You just need to stop. You need to think about the people that you love, not just the people that love you. The people that you care about, you're affecting them. That's really it. I just want to help people who have this opportunity that I don't have anymore. You know, like I lost my brother. Things happen in life. They shouldn't happen though.
Well, there's hope for everybody, all right? If you want it bad enough, there are support groups out there. If your family's not there for you or your friends are not there for you, find somebody, a crutch, a meeting. There are so many support groups out there. There's so many programs that can help you. You can't do it on your own, but it boils down to that you have to do it on your own. You need somebody, some kind of support system when you're feeling weak that you can turn to that'll give you a little strength and inspire you.
What is going on now is positive and strong, and changes and the effort that are being put forward by the community are great.
The way I view it is that this epidemic is like a virus. And when you have a virus in your, if you view the community as a living organism, you have a virus in your organism. It's going to be counterproductive. So we try and give people an outlet.
But also the law enforcement needs of the community. Our police officers need more resources to combat this issue, and we certainly can't tie their hands behind their backs and expect them to combat this problem. They need resources, they need support, and as an elected official, I'll always support the NYPD.
I just want anybody to know who's struggling with addiction that, 3 years ago I was a shell of a person. I was existing. I was not living. And I never ever thought that there was a way out. And I want you to know that there is a way out and there is hope. You just need to reach out for help. You're not alone. That's it.
My problem is now, I don't want you to ever know what it's like not to be able to feed your son, hug your son, kiss your son, enjoy life with your son. That's a pain that for me is worse than the pain that you guys are going through. But now, that's it, done, finished, over. So you're blessed. You're able to sit here and understand. And all I'm going to tell you is, I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't have the Alicias in the world. I didn't know about these meetings because I'm going to tell you right now, had I known, I would have brought my son here and said, listen, tell these people, talk to them, like these young people are. We're gifted. We're all blessed to have them sitting here and telling us what they've gone through, what it's like, what it is. Because you know what? We don't know. We're being educated. Alicia's educated. These people, especially them, they're telling us, we're learning from their life experiences. They had to suffer to be able for us to learn, and other people learn from them and save lives. I lost my son. My son is here. Now my mission is to try to help. I want help. Sent my son away. I sent him to the Blue Marathon, 28-day program. I paid $10,000 a month for my son. Why? It's my son. I'm going to do whatever I can to help mine. You didn't raise your child to steal and lie and cheat, break into your house, and steal your money, and steal your jewelry. That's not the child that you brought up. Right now, they have that addiction. It's in their head. It's an illness. It's like cancer. It's in there. It has control of them. All they want to do is whatever this tells them to do. And I tell the kids, and I tell everybody, listen, you're thinking with this. Think with this. This will always tell you the right thing to do. This is the drug telling you, I'm now your mother and father. You do for me. Go out and steal that money so you can get high. So, for me, my son's addiction, he was doing it for a while. We found out about it